It says you're live. There you go.
There we go.
We're live.
We're live. Great. Well,
I'm glad I'm alive.
I'm glad.
I'm glad you're alive because the smell would be dreadful.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and any other living creatures and beings. Welcome to the Inside Out Effect podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Jakes from healingthemind.co.uk, as well as the co-founder of the Inside Out Effect with this gentleman. And tonight's episode of, tonight's topic of discussion, I might say, is how to know if something is working for you, and actually know if it's working for you. Not, make stuff up, but actually how to know if something is working for you. But before we start discussing this topic in detail, I'm going to introduce the man of mystery himself, the true walking encyclopedia of mental health and emotional health and physical health, the author of the book, The Emotional Blueprint to Healing Chronic Pain, and also the DTO handbook. I have got none other than my good friend and my business partner, the great and amazing Jonathan Shaw. Good evening, John.
Evening.
Thanks for joining us
That's
again
no
in
worries.
the awesome studio that we have.
It's a great studio.
It's a great
Beautiful.
studio.
Yeah.
Even though we've had a few complaints recently.
Have we?
Yes.
We've had complaints about our studio.
Yeah, we've had complaints about studios because there's not enough colour.
There's not enough colour in our podcast.
Not enough colour in our
Right,
podcast.
okay.
I wear a white shirt, you wear a white shirt, white background, and so a few of my clients have said, "Yeah, but it's all grey. It's all grey." And I'm like,
okay.
So tonight, I've gone for the purple.
You've coloured up.
I've coloured up.
You've coloured up.
I've coloured up, and so tonight, hopefully, that it won't look so grey. And you've got a blue top on, so anybody who's watching now, you don't have to write in and complain about the fact that we're not very colourful.
No. So tonight, Steve's coloured up. Next week, I will black up, and I'll do my impression of Al Jolson. I know that's not politically correct, but who gives a shit?
Yes, who gives a shit?
No, exactly. I thought it was funny.
If you are offended by that, give us a call and we'll switch that on for you. So, which is exactly what we do. So, anyway, it's been a few weeks since our last podcast.
It has actually.
Yeah, it has been a few weeks.
Yeah.
Just how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm very well, actually. I'm very, very good. Yeah, I'm good. I've been really busy, and had some interesting clients, and been really super busy, really. So since I've been back,
been really busy.
I've been really busy since I've been back.
Super busy, and treating clients, but being super busy.
Yeah, I've been super busy. So because I've been so busy, I've not had a lot of chance to stop and do anything really.
To even think about what you're doing to talk about it.
No, I don't even know why I'm here or what I'm doing. You just
Thanks
said
for joining
get here,
us, and we'll
here.
see you next week.
Yeah, brilliant.
So all good then.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, very, very good.
I just want to say, I've been obviously I still do work on myself all the time consistently, and I just want to say that we've discovered a new, more accurate way of switching stuff off. So we had the model which works geniusly, but this has gone another level, and it seems to have. I've just gone through 2 sessions with something which is quite big for me, and normally, because of the amount of stuff that's happened to me in my life, it takes a long time. We have to work through a lot of sessions to get rid of stuff for me. But this has just got rid of it more or less in 1 and a bit sessions. So, which is a game changer for anybody that's wanting to do the work. And it's also going to help myself and you get rid of this stuff 10 times quicker than what we've done in the past. So that's a real big breakthrough. So do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Or?
Yeah, so I've had a really fantastic week because I've discovered this little process, and actually it all came out of an argument I had with my girlfriend. So if you're watching, she knows this. It's totally okay. So I had an argument with my girlfriend, and I got triggered on the argument, and I got triggered because I felt like I was being criticised, and I had another trigger as well, which I didn't recognise it was a trigger until the next morning. But I knew I felt criticised, and my response to that when I was feeling criticised is to go within myself and hide. And so I got off the call, and it was late. I went to bed, and so the next morning I got up and I was sitting down to do some DTO to clear that. And this other trigger popped in my head that she'd said to me, and it was about one of my responses to the situation in life. And I kind of realised I was doing it, but when she said it to me, it was very clear in my head. And the combination of her saying this and this idea that's been bubbling away in me for a couple of months now of how to speed DTO up, how to go directly after fight and flight response, just suddenly popped in my head like a giant puzzle. And since then, we've been able to switch things off very, very quickly. Things that previously were sticking or stuck. So if someone was very, very stuck, like Steve and myself to a certain degree, it speeds it up tenfold. Usually with DTO, it speeds everything up tenfold anyway. But certainly for people who are very, very stuck and have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff running, this speeds the whole process up even quicker. And for people who are easier, who don't have that running, it speeds it up for them even faster as well.
Yeah.
So for someone like Steve, would take 16 sessions to get rid of something. In 2, maybe 3 sessions, that thing's gone. And for someone who'd normally take 2 sessions to get rid of that, in half an hour, that's gone. I mean, I literally switched off one of my friend's abandonment issues in 15 minutes. So she felt completely abandoned, and she had it for years, and we've worked through clearing it before. But I did this new process, and within 15 minutes, it had gone. And also at the same time, her back pain reduced by 60%. Literally in 15 minutes. It was like magic. And what's special about that is, but DTO traditionally focuses on triggers and memories. So we go after memories and triggers. But now DTO can clear themes. So we can clear a theme with DTO. And what I mean by that is an abandonment issue, or feeling judged, or feeling criticized. And I remember when I sat down and switched this criticism off, this feeling of being criticized, it's the fastest thing I've ever switched off in me. When it comes to a theme, usually with a theme, you have to find all the memories and all the triggers within the theme and switch those off. And while that's very, very good and works really well, if you've got a lot of memories, a lot of triggers in that theme, it can take time. Whereas now we don't have to do it. It seems we don't have to do that. We just literally go after the theme itself and switch that off. And that speeds everything up really, really quickly. Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. I've been trying it on people loads.
Yeah. I'm looking
people
forward
who are willing to do it with me. I've been trying it on. Yeah. And it's worked unbelievably well and unbelievably quickly. It's just incredible. Yeah, it's great. And I've noticed massive shifts in me as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I've got to say that we just before we've done this session, I've just had half an hour, and it's just cleared some really big stuff. So if I'm a little bit jaded, you know why.
Yeah.
Great excuse.
That's right. It's a good excuse. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So you're all good.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very well. I'm doing that, and then discovering this thing that I've been trying to get my head around for 2 months is really, good. And I'm just really nice and chilled, and just getting on with life, really. Yeah. Just enjoying my work, and it's good.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So I was talking to one of my clients on. She's a lady in New Jersey.
Yeah,
American lady, and because I come off Facebook a couple of weeks ago, or last week. I say I come off of it. I mean, I've had to post this stuff, but I'm generally not engaging in it anymore. We've done all the podcasts talking about viruses, how you don't catch viruses, what causes sickness, what causes illness, yada, 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 yada. And every day I'm just reading all this nonsense. People that I know just spreading fear, people saying they've got, people. We said 6 months ago, if you're going to keep on wearing the masks, by the time June to get to winter, everyone's going to get sick. Yeah. Guess what's happening? Everyone's getting sick. Pneumonia's a good one, and a lot of people get pneumonia. But it's not just pneumonia; it's COVID pneumonia. It's not. And I'm like, pneumonia. Just everything now. Every single sickness and illness is now this, and it's really pissing me off, because logically, that's impossible.
It is impossible. It's totally impossible.
And once upon a time, you used to have chest infections, you used to have illnesses and sore throats. Now, not everything, every illness now doesn't exist anymloNo, every single thing is just COVID. And it's really pissing me off, because the reason I say it's pissing me off is because we spend a lot of time and effort and energy trying to look. We've learned this stuff. We do it day in, day out. We work with people. We're not just making stuff up and telling people this stuff because it would just, why would we do that? There would be no benefit to us. And we do switch off a lot of stuff in illnesses and people, so we know what causes it, and we've explained about this. I've been putting videos out about this, and unfortunately there's a big chunk of the people that are on my Facebook page that are obviously not watching my podcasts for whatever reason. They're not interested in what we've got to say, and the problem is that they're now stuck in the mainstream media belief system. They're stuck in this whole crap that's being pushed. We know it not to be 100% accurate, and
it's accurate,
and
not even 1%
and I go through my feed, and all I'm seeing is this fear and the vaccines and all this stuff, and I'm like, how much more of I can't do anymore now. And so I've just like said, you know what, I'm done with it. If you want to believe that, you want to lock yourself in your house and act like complete paranoid and lunatics and sit in front of the TV and scare yourself to death and everybody else around you, you're welcome to that. And I can't engage in it anymore. And so you can only really help the people that want help. Yeah. And so and it's not, it was starting to, which comes on to about this topic. If it's not working for you, stop doing it. So, and I just found that Facebook wasn't working for me, and I just can't handle all of the people that aren't willing to do any research, look into the truth, find out facts, and just parrot fashion everything that they're just seeing on the TV. And it saddens me and it upsets me because society right now is messed up because of it. So I've just come off of Facebook. But and I was telling one of my clients that, and she's in New Jersey. And I was having second thoughts about doing these podcasts because I'm thinking, well, they're not really, I'm reading my Facebook page and I'm thinking, well, no one's really listening to what we're saying or taking it on board. So anyway, I was having second thoughts of whether I was going to continue doing these as well. And I was with a client on Wednesday, and like I said, she's in America, and we was having a chat over Zoom. And she said, oh, no, she goes, I love your podcast. She said, I get my little dog and I go for walks and I listen to you two guys. And that really hit home for me that, that what we are actually doing, there are a group of people that are taking it on board and learning from it and using it, and it's benefiting them. Yeah. So for me, I thought, well, I will carry on doing this. And then that night you said we're going to do another podcast. I'm like, okay, great. So here we are. So
and I've had the same thing. I've had people say they love listening to the podcast now. They listen to it and they look forward to listening to it. Yeah. And for everyone who does look forward to listening to the podcast, we're very grateful. Thank you so much. It's nice to know people do listen to it, and we hope you're enjoying it and getting a lot of benefit out of it.
And people are learning from it because, I spent a long, 20 years you've been doing this. Yeah. I've been learning about the brain, the mind for well over 7 years, and doing this as a full-time occupation, healing people, fixing illnesses and diseases, and and especially the mental health stuff. This is experience, this is fact, this is what we're actually doing. And I say to people that come here, when do you go to a doctor and he actually makes you better? You don't. It just doesn't. You go to a doctor, he goes, yes, makes an assessment, and then off you go. Well, that isn't making you better. What we actually do is heal people. We make people better because we know what causes it. So we're not imparting this information like a couple of nut jobs that are, making up stuff and creating this fantasy world.
Speak for yourself. I'm very nuts. I'm completely mental.
Yeah, but yes, you are.
Yeah, I am.
Well, you have to be.
You have to be to
do what we do.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? We're not telling people this information, and then because we're just crazy, a couple of crazy loons. So it's all based on experience. It's all based on fact and evidence, and it's evidence driven. And if you're willing to take that on board, then you're going to have a much better life, and you're going to be able to address your problems better. And so so here we go. So. That's why really I've sort of backed out of it, really. But I'm still going to do the podcast.
Well, all of social media is a bit silly at the moment. So everything's really going on social media. The world is a bit silly at the moment. And in lots of areas, there's loads of silly things going on, which is actually highly amusing at the moment.
It is highly amusing.
And it's literally making me chuckle. I'm literally laughing my head off every morning, every day. In between clients, I'm laughing my head off at the silly things that are happening in the world that people aren't seeing as really, really silly.
Did you see the inauguration bit with Joe Biden? And 1 minute he was standing there and he was about to put his hand on the Bible to do whatever it was.
Yeah.
And there was a woman in a yellow and a white coat behind and a pink dress. Yeah. And then instantly it flipped and that woman had gone and the woman standing next to her had gone and he's still doing the Bible. So they've really screwed up. So that whole thing is not what that whole inauguration thing ain't what you're seeing on the news.
There's so many things I've seen on the actual live stream video that show it was actually not a complete live stream video because things keep disappearing, reappearing. Things in it don't really make a lot of sense. There were things missing from the inauguration that should have been there. That have been there for every other president. Apparently Joe Biden didn't even attend it he had to hire his own aeroplane to get there.
Yeah.
That's not normal. So
and nobody there, all flags.
Yeah,
nobody there.
No one there.
No one
all
there.
Flags.
It's so funny. And you got the Bill Clinton and the Clintons.
The photo.
They were completely different people when you actually go and look and.
If you compare photographs, it's quite bizarre. I actually showed my mum a photo. Now my mum knows nothing about politics. Nothing at all. She's not interested in it, and she doesn't know anything about American politics. And I showed her a photograph with Biden's the Biden from a few years ago and the now Biden close together. And I said, "What do you think of that, Mum?" And she looked at it and went, "That's not the same person."
Not the same person. I know. So
I was like, well, it's supposed to be the same person, but they look like two different people.
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell if you only see them separately, but put them together, they look like totally different people. It's very, very funny.
A bit like that Clinton picture.
I'm not saying what that is. I'm just saying it looks very, very funny. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no, what I'm going to say is it's like a movie, and whatever's playing out isn't what and the media are just pushing this stuff out. I don't know what the end game is, but I think this is all for... I think it's all moving in a very, very good direction. I think we're starting to expose the fraud of the mainstream media, which I've been banging on about for a very long time. And everything you see on your TV isn't real, and it's all created for you. So, and I think give it maybe 6 to 8 weeks. I think we're going to see a lot more of this exposure and how they're doing it. Did you see the one with Biden doing these writing the executive orders?
Yeah.
And it's in a studio. It's not even a real White House.
It's not. No, it's not. It's in one of the studios, the TV studios.
What is the purpose of that?
And the president doesn't do that. The president does not go to a studio of a set of the White House to sign executive orders. He does it
with
in the White House.
Through the window.
Car park through the window, and signing it with the wrong hand, because Joe Biden's right hand is traditionally, and he was signing it with his left hand. So all these things just don't make sense. They're just not logical, and it's not something that it's done in the past. My girlfriend sent me this great video, a TED talk from 2018, of this guy showing how they can fake a person talking on camera. And he put Obama up. He put 4 clips of Obama up.
They're called deep fakes.
They're deep fakes. He put 4 clips of Obama up and said to the audience, right, which one of these is real? And he went, none of them. And it's Obama talking, and you see his face. It looks like him, and they all look slightly different. And none of them are him.
It's scary. It's scary what they can do with CGI now. It's scary because you don't know what's real and what isn't.
I did not know you could do that. I mean, I know in movies, but not what he was showing. I was like, wow, that's
if they can do it in movies, they can do it in the live.
Exactly,
So everything has to come into question now, what you see on the TV. And I've been saying this for a long time. That's why I don't watch it anymore, because you can't believe any of it.
No, I'm not even sure you're really here. I can't believe
that I'm not.
To be honest, I don't think you're here. I think you're a hologram. I'm not even sure that I'm here. I could be somewhere else now.
We could well be holograms, actually.
Do you reckon? In a Matrix.
In the Matrix.
Brilliant.
Great. So it's all very, very interesting. I find it highly entertaining, and I've had wind of it for a few weeks now that things aren't the way that we think it is.
Things
reality. Things have just got silly now.
And
I think you're going to find now Joe Biden's got in.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, coronavirus will just magically disappear. It's just going to be gone. They're going to come out. They're going to say, oh, hydroxychloroquine or whatever. It's going to be good, which I said about in March. That's all going to be helpful. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they'll see the PCR test the day after the election. WHO come out and said, oh, all the PCR tests, you need to turn it down now because all these positives keep coming up.
That's right. On the day after his inauguration, the World Health Organization announced that you need to turn down the PCR test, something about it, because it's bringing back false positives. Yeah. So they need to bring that down. And also, what I saw surfaced on the internet was a quote from Dr. Fauci stating that hydroxychloroquine actually works.
Yeah, he did that in 2005. 2005.
So that's resurfaced on the internet. It's a quote from Dr. Fauci stating it works for SARS COVID. It works. And so, I mean, all these things are starting to get released.
Donald Trump says that he's a nutter, but now
World Health Organization said it, and Fauci, it's gospel.
Right. So anyway, we're just going to watch this pantomime.
Yes, it is a pantomime. I'm expecting Julian Clary to pop out any minute.
Well, you do most nights.
I do, I know, yeah. Well, no, that's more my fantasies. I'm expected to pop out in the White House at any minute and go, hello.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's very, very funny.
So I just want to say, so a few people just said hello. So hello, Mike. How you doing, mate? Just wondering, I do know the Yanks are never logical, but this is a pantomime, and what you're seeing on your news is not real. Don't buy into it.
Don't watch it.
And also, hello, Amanda Babbage. Hello. First time you joined us. Be nice to see you.
Hello, Amanda.
And there's, I've got quite a few people. Hello, Trevor, Samantha, Mandy. Hello, Andrea. Louise.
Oh,
Louise is watching. Hello,
hey,
Louise. How you doing? If you're still watching, still need to know. No answer. Are you going to come and clean your house? And
no,
also, she's not. No.
No.
Stephen, Mark, and Sue. So hello, everybody, and anybody else that's not on my personal feeds. Hello to you as well.
Yeah.
John Hill. What's that on the wall? It's some drawings. So
he gets lonely, so he draws.
I do, yeah.
It's his hobby.
Now, that's actually the social media program actually behind me for Inside Out Effect, and that there is actually a drawing of a spa which I've designed, which I'm hoping to, when all this nonsense is all over, that at some point I'll be able to open it's got a health spa, clinics, DTO rooms, restaurant, lakes. It's got like log cabins. Yeah. So jacuzzi, sauna, swimming pool.
Awesome.
So that's my dream to have that.
That's your dream. That'd be amazing. I think that's amazing. That would be brilliant. If anyone wants to sponsor us or put up the money, that'd be fantastic. Just drop us a line, give us a call. We'd love to get up and running because that would really help.
So anyway, Ria, not you. I didn't mean you. There's another Andrea watching, so just so you know, that wasn't you. Oh. And Tracy's just joined us. Hello, Tracy. How are you doing?
Hey everybody.
Great. So we are going to talk about how to know if things actually are really working for you. Because I think there's a big misconception that we have in life. We go through life, we get educated, we meet somebody, we settle down, we get our job, we have certain people come into our life, all different sorts of things in our environment. And generally we think that, we think things are going well for us, and when generally they're not, or, we know things aren't working the way we want them to. Tripping over myself there. And so what we want to do is we want to talk a little bit more in detail about exactly how to know if something actually is working for you. And there is 6 simple things that we can apply to our life or can apply to any situation, relationship, job, friendship, anything like that, really, in anything. There's 6 simple things that you can use to monitor or up against to see if actually something's working for you. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we just think we need to power through everything, and we just have to stay strong, and we can't change anything. Once we've made a decision, we've got to stick to that decision, and that's what causes us a lot of, especially in relationships, for example. We make a decision and we get stuck there and it doesn't work, and we stay there and stay there and stay there because of our guilt and our shame, or the fact that we don't identify that it actually isn't working for us. And it's the same for jobs and other things. So there are 6 things that we are going to talk about today, and if you take these away and apply these to your life, you will actually find out that your life and your situations and circumstances will change for the better, and your life starts working for you. So do you want to start then, Mr. Shaw, with number 1, which is do you want to talk about it?
I'll talk about it. Before I get into the 6 things, I want to explain a little bit about the 6 things. So you can use these 6 things to make good decisions, to work out if you want to do something or if you don't want to do something. You can use it for environmental things, or we use it for how we're feeling, to work out if an emotion or thought is working for you. This is a question we ask in the DTO process to get the brain to recognize if what the person's thinking or feeling is actually working for them. Because that's one of the biggest problems that people have. They don't realize that what they're thinking and feeling is not working for them. And
that also leads to their behaviours, because the thoughts and the feelings lead to the behaviours, and their behaviours doesn't work for them.
Behaviours don't work for them. So you can use it with a behaviour, you can use it in action, you can use it with a decision, you can use it with anything external, and we're going to give you some examples of that. But it's important to know, because you can actually start taking control of your life and working out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I want to explain where it comes from. So these 6 things are actually the 6 things that when we are ill or when we have a shock or a Udin moment, it affects all 6 of these areas. They are 6 areas of our life that are the most important for us. And when these become affected, whether it's one or multiple of them, that's when we become sick and diseased. So it also goes that if we're having any problem in life, even if it's not illness, let's say it's a decision we're trying to make to go for a new job or make more money or have another relationship or not having a relationship, if we look at these 6 things, it will help guide us as to whether it's the right thing for us or not.
Whether a person's the right person to have in your life, for example, as well.
Now, I will put a caveat on that and say that, if you're dating somebody and you're questioning whether it's working for you, you're not sure if it's right, and you run down this list and quite a few of them are missing, you may then think, well, it's not working. However, that could be your unconscious blocks. That could be your sabotage. running. It could be your fear of relationships and everything else. So with that scenario, be a little bit mindful of that. If you're running a fear or you feel like you have to run away from the situation, then that's a good sign that actually it's not working for you. You're just in fight and flight at the moment.
Yeah.
So be mindful when you're doing this that you're not in fight and flight, because if you're in fight and flight over the thing you're trying to decide where it works for you, you're going to get a false decision. You're going to get a false positive.
A false positive.
Like a
PCR test.
It's almost like the PCR test. You're going to get a false positive.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're thinking, oh, I've got to break up with this person, I can't live like this any longer, that's more of a fight and flight state. That's more of a run state.
Well, I think there's, but you got to depend on what them circumstances are, really. That's the thing.
There are, yes, but obviously, the exception of abuse. Even if it's a true thing, you still shouldn't be in fight and flight when you make the decision.
No.
So
it's always the wrong decision anyway.
Yeah. So you take the fight and flight out, and you may still recognise it's not the right person to be with, or you may recognise actually something else is going on.
Your guilt and shame.
Yeah, but you can only recognise that once the fight and flight's out. But anything else, as long as you're not in fight and flight, if you're just trying to make a decision or move forwards in life or decide what to do, then you can use this as a good test, as a good benchmark to see whether it's working for you, and also your emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
So there are 6 things that make things work for us, and they cover every important area of our life. So the first one is it making you feel emotionally happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful? So I urge you to write these down. I encourage you to write them down because you're going to forget them. So write them down. And one of my clients the other day, I spoke to her briefly, and she said she's actually put this on her phone now as a screensaver, so she can see it all the time and check in with herself and go, is this working for me? So the first thing, is it making you feel emotionally happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful?
Yeah, because I just want to add, because sometimes we think that things are working for us when they're not.
No.
So because of our guilt and our shame that comes in, or sometimes there's a secondary gain to the thing that we actually want. For example, we actually think those things are working for us.
Yeah.
And socially as well. You might have people that aren't working for you, but because if you didn't have them, you wouldn't have any friends. You think, well, I wouldn't have any friends if I didn't have them, so it was working for me because I've got friendships. So there is like things that we need to be aware of, that sometimes we can look at these things and think they are working for us when actually they're not, which is a big mistake I made with a lot of the stuff I've done in the past. We actually think that things are working for us, but actually they're not. So I just want to point that out, because I can see some people sitting there going, well, actually, it does work for me, all right. But are you actually, when you really think about it, is it working for you?
Yeah, so the reason people think that something's working for them is they don't understand this list. They don't understand what working for them means. So they think it might be working for them because they're making enough money to get by and survive. So that's working for them. But if they actually ran it through this list, they realise, well, they're not really happy, and it's not making them feel safe and secure, and they don't feel great.
They don't see their children. They don't get to spend any time at home. They can't exercise. Yeah.
So it's not actually working for them. But unfortunately, as human beings, we think, well, we have to accept situations. We can't change things. So we often don't. But the first step to changing a situation or changing your response is recognizing it's not working for you. That's your first step, because if you don't recognize that, you're not going to want to change it. You're not going to know that it needs to be changed.
Yeah, we normalize stuff.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's okay. I mean, good days and bad days. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you just take the rough with the smooth.
Exactly. Yeah.
And all those.
You can't have your cake and eat it.
Can't have your cake.
Which makes no sense, because if I've got cake, I'm gonna fucking eat it. I don't get it. So basically, you need a way to work out if what you're doing or the way you're behaving or the way you're thinking and feeling is working for you. And this is a great process to run it through.
Right. So let's start again, because I've just had a few people. Hello, I just want to say hello to Go. Andrea, not Ria, the other Andrea. She said, "Can you repeat the first one, please?" So let's go through. Let's start.
We'll go through this one at a time, briefly, and then we'll go through them one at a time and give it examples. Okay. So I'll make it fair. I'll do the first 3, and Steve can do the second 3. I don't want him to feel left out.
Oh, it's all right.
So the first one. Is it making you feel emotionally happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful? I'll say it again. Is it making you feel emotionally happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful? We will explain this in a second, so don't worry. Second, number 2. Is it making you feel mentally clear, focused, with clarity? So is it mentally making you feel clear, focused, with clarity? Number 3, is it genuinely making you feel physically strong and energized? When I say genuinely, I don't mean a false strength like anger. Anger is actually a false strength. Feeling powerful is a false strength. A genuine strength is just natural, where you feel strong, confident,
composed, grounded, stable.
Yeah, that's a good physical strength. So those are the first 3. Emotionally, joyful, happy, peaceful, and wonderful. Mentally, clear, focused with clarity. And physically strong and energized. The last 3.
Oh, you want me to do the last
I'll leave you last 3. I'll give you the last 3.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, it's about sharing.
That's making me feel very emotionally happy, joyful, and wonderful.
I used to watch the Care Bears.
It's working for me, that is.
Is it?
Right, so
caring is sharing.
So number 4 is, does it spiritually or energetically make you feel grounded and connected? Yeah, so just grounded and connected. Does it make you feel just A-okay, just spiritually and energetically? Is number 5 is environmentally, do you feel generally safe and secure in your environment? Okay, so that's just basically you feel safe and secure, you've got no worries, you have no fears about what's around you or anything or in your environment as such. And number 6 is socially, everyone around you is warm, loving, kind and friendly,
including yourself.
Thanks, mate.
It's all right.
I didn't look at that.
You didn't what?
I didn't want to look at that.
Did you not? No. Okay.
Right. So they're the 6. So shall we go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah, go into a bit more detail.
So
make sure you write those down. If any you forget, we'll post it below. We'll post an image of it below. If you forget, just drop a message. Later on tomorrow, we'll post an image of it below. But what do we mean by these things? Because there are people that it will bring up some questions that people won't understand. So if you're questioning if something's working for you, and the first one is, well, is let's say you're questioning a feeling, and one of the obvious things might be grief, for instance, and someone's going to go, well, is it making me feel emotionally happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful? No, obviously the grief itself isn't. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, is the emotion inside? Is what's happened doing that? No. But is the emotion inside, the way you're feeling about it, make you do that? And ideally, inside you should feel happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful. There are times when you will feel sad, like grief, but if you're holding that grief for too long and you're not going back to feeling happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful, then it's no longer working for you. And the length of time you should grieve for is literally no more than 3 months, tops. And I would even debate that's too long. If you're grieving for more than 3 months, you are now in fight and flight. So you haven't gone back to feeling happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful. And I know I treat grief a lot. I've treated grief for years. It's one of the biggest things that cause chronic pain, especially in the arms and the shoulders. Grief gets locked into there. So with things like emotions of grief, after 3 months, if you're still grieving and you're not back to being happy and jolly and enjoying your life, then that's not working for you.
I just want to point out as well is that generally that's because you've now made that situation about you.
Yes,
so you now feel you've either got a lot of guilt and shame about the person that's passed and the fact that because you'll certain questions like but I miss him, or I didn't do enough, and you hear that I you're now making it about you, and the loss is not about the person, the loss is about you.
That's right.
So you're now making it about you. So the grief now isn't about the person, the grief is now about what you've made it about yourself. And that because of guilt and shames that you never done enough, you didn't go and see them enough, you didn't do this, do that, behave in a certain way, whatever you didn't do. So that's why grief really should really only be a shorter period, and anything after that is guilt and shame that you're holding on to about yourself and how you showed up.
Yes. So that's number 1. That's a brief example. Number 2 is it making you feel mentally clear, focused, with clarity? Now, no matter what you're going through, you should be mentally clear about it. You should be able to focus and you should have clarity over something. Even now, in periods of fight and flight, you're not going to have that. So that's how you know you're in fight and flight, because fight and flight takes away the clarity. It takes away the focus. So if whatever you're thinking or whatever you're trying to do is not giving you clarity, then it's not working for you. For instance, if you're working on a computer 24/7 and you're not having a break, that could actually fog your brain. So you could ask yourself, well, is working on the computer 24/7 making me feel mentally clear, focused, with clarity? No, it's not going to. It's going to fog your brain. You do need to have breaks.
And if you're just experiencing that in your life, you need to go and look at what areas of your life are causing you to not think physically.
I don't know.
Can you think physically?
How can you think physically?
I don't know. Well, that's a very esoteric question.
They do say that men think with one particular physical part of their body. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
I'm more of a lesbian myself.
Yeah. So like, I forgot what I was going to say now. Look what area in your life it is that's affecting you to stop you thinking clearly, or where it is. Because if you have got that running, there is something in your life that's making you not think clearly or focus or anything. And you need to find out what that is. And when you find that thing, that's when you need to find out, or there's a good chance that that's not working for you.
Yeah.
It's a really good indication.
Yeah.
So this can be done in the reverse as well as thinking of doing something or where you're currently at.
Yeah, it can be thinking about trying to do something that's coming up or where you are right now.
Yeah.
So the third one is it making you feel grounded and connected? Excuse me, that doesn't necessarily mean God. It just means what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning. It's like your purpose and your passion. So if you're doing something, if you're doing a hobby or you're doing a job, but you don't feel grounded and connected, doing it like you're all over the place, you're dashing around all the time, you're stressed constantly, then that's not working for you. Yeah. Now, that's not a sign you need to quit the job. It's a sign that you need to change something or the way you're doing it within the job. So these are not signs that you need to quit or stop doing it. They're just signs you need to change the way you're doing it, potentially. There will be some occasions where
I was going to say there will be some jobs that you're going to.
There will be some things that totally don't work for you. You need to quit, but that's not in every case. For instance, for me, one of the things that I hated in my job, in what I do, is writing emails. I don't like it. And so I recognized this wasn't working for me. But it was actually the emotional response wasn't working for me. Yeah. So I changed the emotional response.
So here's a great example. So was being on Facebook working for me? No, because the first one, it wasn't emotionally making me happy, joyful, and peaceful. No. It was triggering the shit out of me, to be quite honest. And I've had to switch a lot of stuff off around it. So straight away, I'm like, is being on Facebook working for me? No, it's not, because everyone's just writing this nonsense and going, it's not working for me because. So I got to number one. It's not working for me. I said, right, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not working for me. It's just actually causing me more distress than it is positive stuff. And so I've come off of it. So there's another really good example of something working for you.
And social media does that a lot. It triggers a lot of people. So a lot of people are on social media, and actually a lot of people are now realizing that certain platforms on social media don't work for them, and a lot of people are moving away from it. Yeah. So you only have to go down one. If one thing out of the 6 is not working, it's not working. Yeah. I've never done this with anybody where I've got down all 6 things and all 6 things were working for them. If there's one thing missing, it's not working. Sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's 3, sometimes all 6 are missing. But it doesn't matter. Even if only one thing is not right, that is still not working for it. It must work
on all 6.
On all 6 of them at the same time, 100% of the time, about 95% in life. So with the exception of grief, because obviously in the first couple of months, you're going to be sad and down. But you should be sad and down about what's happened, not sad and down emotionally on the inside because you're depressed as hell. You're sad and down about what's happened, that you've lost somebody, but you shouldn't be totally sad and down on the inside that you feel like you're dying inside. That is not working for you. So if one of these 6 things is missing, then it's just not working for you. So often when I start saying this to people, I don't get down very far because they find the first 2 things aren't working. And it goes away. Yeah. Now, sometimes people think something is working for them. So they think anger works for them. So they'll say to me, I'm really angry, this person did it. And I go, is that working for you? And I go, well, yeah. So then I run down the list one at a time. And I'll say, well, is feeling angry making you feel happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful? And they'll instantly go, no, because anger can't do that. Anger can't make you feel happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful. Yeah. I'll get to the next one. I go, does it make you feel mentally clear and focused? And they'll go, no, because it doesn't make you feel, it fogs your brain.
Absolutely.
I'll get to the next one. Now, the next one was challenging because I'll go, is it make you feel physically strong and energized? And I'll go, yeah, I feel pumped. And then I'll change it and go, no, genuinely physically strong and energized. A genuine strength, a pumped strength or a anger strength
is a stress.
It's a stress. Yeah. It's false.
Yes.
It's not real. So it must be a genuine strength.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of people turn around and say, no, it's good to be angry because you can use that anger to motivate you.
Yeah, that's
right. And I'm
like,
are you mental?
No, you can't.
So what? You're going to have to be... So in order to achieve things in life, You're going to be angry all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's like, really
but people
doesn't
do.
work.
Yeah, people do generally think
No,
that.
that's all right, though.
They think the anger gives them power.
Yeah, it does.
And it's quite interesting because you'll get some people think anger gives them power. You'll get some people frightened of their anger, so they don't go to their anger, so they suppress it.
Yeah.
You'll get some people who when they can only make decisions, or they can only do things when they are angry. They can't do it when they're not angry. And everyone's different when it comes to anger. So, but the anger doesn't really work for them at all. It's giving them what they want a little bit, but it's not giving them what they want totally the way they would like it.
Yeah.
And that's the secret.
Yeah.
The thing is, what a lot of people do is we want something, we're not getting it, and then we do something or we act in a certain way, and it gives us what we want a little bit, like love, for instance. Often, if we don't feel loved, we'll then try and do things to get loved as a child. And we might then...
And as an adult.
And as an adult, yeah, as an adult. And one of the things we might do is people please. We might try and please someone. And what that will do is we'll get a little bit loved briefly, and then it'll get ripped away from us, like massively, and we'll be devastatingly upset. But because we got it briefly, we keep going back to get it briefly. We don't realise we could get it completely and wholly. We don't realise we can have that because we've never had it. But because we get it a little bit by people pleasing, we keep going back to that response. Instead of going, wait a minute, is people pleasing working for me?
He's only having that and then losing it and feeling really shit after working for me.
Is that working
Is
for
that
me?
making me feel emotionally happy, joyful? No. See, most things fail at the first.
They fail at the first one. Very few of those things actually make you feel happy, joyful, wonderful, and peaceful. Yeah. So it stops right there.
Yeah, but people also use anger as well because it's a very image thing. It's a very image thing. It's a very egotistical thing, and it's like it's a projection of who they want the world to see them as, especially with blokes who want to be seen as they can look after themselves and they're an alpha and they're a man and you don't mess with me, and you got sort of elements of it like that, but even that doesn't work.
No. And
it makes you sick as well. It'll make you ill as well if you keep doing that for a period of time. You physically will get sick as well. And
ironically, a lot of things that we think works for us actually don't. And so I'm going to give you an example of how I use this, not just emotions, but in a problem I was having in life. So this was going back a few years when I first created DTO. And basically what I was doing is I was skating every week. I was ice skating. That's one of my hobbies, in case you haven't been paying attention. And I'm sure you have. But in case you're
no one's going to pay attention to that, mate.
No, they're not going to pay attention to that.
I don't even pay attention.
You don't pay attention to that.
Do you know what I mean? I've been in a few years. I'm saying, what did you do before you started?
I don't know. I don't even know who I am. So is that working for me? No. So I was doing ice skating once a week. Well, I was doing it several times a week, but I had a lesson on a Friday. But also on a Friday, once a month, I had a meeting I went to, and it was a mastermind group where we'd all get together and we'd bang ideas out together and hold each other accountable. And that was only once a month on a Friday. But what I was doing was, I live in Whittam, and don't come and stalk me. You don't know where I am. I'm not going to tell you. I'm near the station. No, not really. So
why would someone come to Whittam and cover you with margarine?
I don't know. It was, I don't know. So I could go to the doctor and say, I can't believe I'm not better. But I love that.
Yeah,
joke.
no, the doctor's going to say that to you. I can't make you better.
Yeah, I can't believe I make you better. No. Maybe it's your model that's wrong.
Yeah.
Good old Rockefeller. So, what happens is I was travelling to Chelmsford, and then I was having to cut my lesson really quickly, dash back up past Whittam to go to Colchester for the mastermind group, and I was dashing around. And one of the things I don't like is rushing. I don't like dashing around because it just stresses people. So I learned that never works for me, dashing around. So I've made my life so I don't dash around. And I've learned how to not do that by not filling my day with lots of things. That was one of the things that didn't work for me either. I used to try and do 15 things a day and never get any of them done. Not properly. So when I went to doing 2 or 3 things a day, I then got more things done in a week than I did ever in years of trying to do things. And I won't travel too far in a day either. I won't travel to too many destinations, because I'll travel a distance, but I won't go to multiple destinations in a day because that is stressful. But this particular situation, this particular situation, I'm trying to give examples of how things work when they don't. I realized they weren't working, so I changed it. Yeah. Because people, they moan and they blame. Oh my God, I've been so many places today. Yeah. Well, who put you in those places? Did you agree to those things? Yeah. If you did, then that's your fault. And I get it, but it stresses people. They don't realise they're not checking. Wait, this is not working for me. You know, one of my clients, She was a runner. Was a hobby, was a runner, and they wanted her to do some kind of board thing and be on the board or something. And she was getting stressed doing it. She didn't want to do it. And I said, "Well, is that working for you?" And she went, "No." I said, "Well, then email them until you don't want to do it." Oh, right, okay. She could not say. I mean, she did it, and she felt so much better once she just said, "I don't want to do this." Yeah. But she kept doing it for some reason, not realizing, not taking responsibility for saying this doesn't work for me, because you have to take responsibility. If
most people don't want to take responsibility, they'll stay in the same situation trying to make it work when clearly it doesn't work. So, and I've done that many a times myself.
Yeah,
especially in business and friendships.
Yes,
and relationships, and we do. And the problem is I think there's we're frightened of losing the thing that actually isn't working for us, which is actually, it is quite mad.
Yeah, no, there is.
We're more worried about what we're going to lose rather than what we're going to gain.
Yeah, no, there is always a fear of loss there. So with certain situations like friends and things, you're going to feel that fear of loss. But sometimes certain relationships just don't work, and sometimes it changes. They might work for a while, then they don't work.
Like ours.
Like I was going to say, yeah. So this is going to be our last podcast.
It is our last podcast. I'm going to cut it off right now.
And it's good night for me, and it's good night now. So back to the story. Basically, I was just dashing around too much. So one day I just said to me, "Is this working for me?" I said to me, that makes no sense. I said to myself, "Is this working for me?" And I just said it in my head. I didn't expect an answer straight away. It was a no to begin with. So I then went, well, what's the opposite or better? And when I asked that question, I waited for a few days, and then the answer came to me. And it sounds stupid, but all I did was I recognized it wasn't working. I said, what's the opposite or better? And a few days later, my brain went, well, you know what? You skate several times a week. You skate every Friday. On the Friday, you have the mastermind. Just don't go skating. And I was like, oh, my God. So
the thing is, I could have told you that like that if you'd have asked me. I could have worked that out for you. I
can't afford your knowledge and wisdom every day in my life. I can't afford to call you up and pay you. I mean, that's a very expensive phone call. And there are other expensive phone calls.
Well, you use Telegram now. I'm on Telegram, everybody. Okay. That's really great. I love that. That's a great.
That's go on Telegram.
Get on Telegram, yeah. But anyway,
but you weren't in my life at that point.
Well, I wasn't.
So the point is that
I bet you wished I was.
No, I do. But the point is that you can use it to make good decisions or decide or change your behavior. Once I realized that, I just said to my instructor, I can't make this Friday. And I then had a bit of a lay-in. I drove to Colchester, got there in plenty of time. I wasn't stressed, and I was nice and
great.
chill.
Well, thanks for sharing your life story, mate.
Is that all right?
Very, very wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I'm so pleased about your skating. Yeah, and it's great.
I like to impart knowledge and wisdom with people, especially you.
It's riveting.
Yeah,
it's a riveting. I'm most envious of your life.
I'm amazed you didn't do a Joe Biden and fall asleep being interviewed.
Right, so let's move on.
The funniest thing I've ever seen, a politician falling asleep on camera when he's running for presidency.
Yeah, I know, it's funny.
That's insane behaviour.
Yeah. So anyway, number 4 was spiritually. So spiritually feeling grounded and connected. So I don't want to get too much into that because there's a lot of grey area in the spiritual elements. There's a lot of beliefs that are made and all the rest of it. But well, it's not from a spiritual thing. It's more of a case of an energetic state, I would rather say.
It's just, are you grounded and connected? If you're off with the fairies, if you're going into La La Land and going, oh my God, it's amazing, I can't believe it, then that's probably not going to work for you.
Yeah.
If you're constantly up in the clouds, I do know a few people like that. If you're constantly up in the clouds all the time, there's nothing wrong with being excited and having passion, but when you're up in the clouds all the time and you're not grounded, that often doesn't work. I've seen so many people get super excited about something that never comes off.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is that if you stay in that state too long, you've got to remember everything's a pendulum. So if you start there too long, then you're going to crash and go below here and go into real low states. And then you're then pushing yourself up into an up state because you don't want to be in the low state. And then you get caught in a cycle of swinging from feeling really, really high and feeling really, really low, which is sort of like a depressional thing as well. And that's what happens as well. You're constantly on the pendulum. So the spirit from a spiritual element, it's just feeling grounded and just feeling like, nice. And I like to think of it more of an energetic thing where you're nice and balanced and you're not too swinging either way. That's how I like to feel, which I think DTO does great. DTO actually switches all that off and brings you back into that.
It brings you back to balance.
Yeah,
can I just say one thing? Cookie. I want
to say one thing to you right now, but we're live, and I don't think the audience are going to like that. Children might be watching.
Possibly, it's true.
Yeah. So
tell me later in private.
I will. Okay, cool. So next one is the environment. So this is a really key thing, because I think we are conditioned to our environment.
Yes.
And we react to our environment. And so if the environment isn't right, then I tend to believe our internal state isn't right either.
No.
So you got to get the environment right. So the environmental one is feeling generally safe and secure in your environment. So that, yes. And your environment can be everything from being at home, being in your job, just being in your social elements. It applies to everything in your environment. So a key thing is that if, for example, you're feeling very stressed or depressed or anxious or and you're in a negative state, or you're finding you're having to do too much or put too much effort in to try and get the thing that you want, then generally I would go to say that isn't working for you. So that's always a really good checklist.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of the key ones, really, because much as the mental and emotional one is important, because that's our checklist to see if it isn't working for us, the environment is really, really, really important, because our environment is everything from the time we get up to the time we go to bed. So if the environment isn't right, and then you're going to find that your life isn't working for you in many ways. And the problem is that if we're in an environment where it isn't working for us and we don't actually know or how to change it, we can then start replicating that in other areas. So we can start we could be, for example, we could be in the wrong friendships, then we could be in the wrong relationship, then we could be in the wrong job. And because what we actually do is we make it okay. We make something up that's okay that isn't okay, and there straight away now you're in a conflict with that, and so that's not working for you. Making things okay that aren't okay isn't working for you, and that's another really good measure.
It's and especially if you're very ill, if you have like an autoimmune problem and you're very, very ill, generally that comes down to toxic people around you or toxic environments that you are responding to. But it is the environment. In every really ill person I've ever met, it's been a toxic relationship or a toxic work environment that's not working for them. And often it's not just their emotional response, it's actually the people that they're constantly around are a problem. But the actual environmental one can sometimes be a false positive, because you can think what you're doing is keeping you safe in your environment. So that's why you run through these 6 things if you think that. So someone, for instance, who is feeling frightened, they can think the fear is working for them because it's keeping them away from the danger. But actually, all the fear does is draw the danger to you.
Yes.
Ironically, it does the exact opposite.
Yeah, it does,
of the problem. So the fear doesn't work for you. But because people think fear is a good thing and it keeps you away from it, if I'm frightened of falling off a cliff, I won't go near a cliff. No, that's not true. So the fear can draw the thing to you. So in that case, it's a false.
Well, it is. If you're in any negative state, it's not working for you.
No,
that's a really good thing. If you're feeling negative about anything, it's not working for you. So you need to go and check what it is.
No, but the other thing is sometimes positive responses don't work for you either. So while Steve's absolutely correct, anything negative doesn't work for you at all. Never, ever once. But sometimes a positive belief doesn't work for you as well. And we've said this before. Positive beliefs are sometimes the worst.
Yeah.
And you can have one of the worst positive beliefs you can have about a situation is, I'm such a good person.
Yeah.
And we all have that. I've had that in things. And
I'm a nice person.
I'm a nice person.
It's clear. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the shame responses underneath the shame response is normally a positive belief. I'm a good person.
I'm a good person.
I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that actually is what's causing the problem. Belief. Because if you believe you're a nice person, anything that goes against your niceness is going to cause you a negative response. And it's
not that you're not a nice person. It's just you've linked it to a scenario. So let's say you've had an argument with someone and someone's gone against what they wanted, what they said they were going to do, and you're on your head going, oh my God, I can't believe that person did that. They promised me. They promised, like, it's so unfair.
I would do that to them.
No, why has this happened to me? I would never do that to them. I'm such a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the I'm such a good person that holds all of that in place.
Yeah.
And if you switch that off, all the rest of it will drop away. You will still be a nice person, but you're no longer making I'm a nice person
or trying to project it.
Or trying to project it.
Yeah, trying to project
because it has nothing to do with what the other person did. The fact you're a nice person has nothing to do with what the other person did. That has to do with them. Yeah. People's actions and behaviours are about them. They're not about you. So if someone does something to you, that's about them. If that person comes to you and say, you know what, I really wasn't happy with what happened. I'm really not comfortable. And can we just talk about this? That's a healthy human being. If someone acts in a certain way because you said something wrong but won't tell you what it is, that's a very unhealthy human being.
Yeah.
Because there's no conversation, there's no There's no trying to resolve.
Some
the
people
issue.
just randomly disappear out of your life like that for no explanation, but it's about them. And you have to. And like for me, I've had that happen a few times. I'm like, well, that's not about me. That's about you at the end of the day. So crack on, and I'm still here when you change your mind. When you want to come back, I'm still here. But
and don't get me wrong, it's very challenging to speak to people when they've done something wrong, or we feel they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's very challenging to do it without blaming or criticising the person. Very important not to do that.
One of the key things I've learned is whatever anybody does now, it's not about me.
No.
And that's one of the key things now. I just say, okay. Because obviously anything other than that isn't working for me. So that's one thing I've learned. And I would used to react to everybody and everything all the time.
Yeah.
All the time I'd react to everything. And now I don't. And because I've learned that their response is about them, or their actions and their behaviours are about them. It's not about me, because I generally don't do anything to make somebody react in a certain way. So if they are reacting in a negative way, then that's about them. So anyway.
And I can prove it to you. All you got to do is think about the way you've reacted to what someone's done, and you'll probably be blaming them. But if you actually ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? You'll probably find that there's some guilt and shame in there somewhere. And if you think about that and go, well, so you think about an action you've done that someone didn't like, or you've disappeared on someone in the past, think about, why did I do that? Oh, I felt really embarrassed. I was embarrassed to talk to them.
Someone got upset with me because I left some music on that they liked.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. I know. People get upset about it crazy. See, but that people get upset.
You sort of do something nice and they get offended. I thought you'd like that.
You thought you'd like that.
How dare you do something like that? Oh,
God forbid.
God forbid, yeah.
So it's always the person, the way the other person acts. You may have said something wrong. You may have even done something wrong, but the way the person responds to that is their issue.
Yes.
They could just talk to you and say, I'm not accepting that. So my example, I had this.
You're not going to talk about skating again, are you?
No, I'm not talking about skating. But the example I gave you earlier with my girlfriend, I felt that I was criticised. It was my feeling. I don't really think she was doing that. But what happened when she did that, I went inside myself and then I shut down. I closed off. Now, that's my response. That's a bad response to have. I shouldn't be doing that. I should be able to talk to her nicely and talk about it with her, which I did do the next morning. But I recognised that my response was to go inside myself and shut off. And when I shut off, I just closed down. And then when I do that, I feel alone and I feel not understood. And then I shut off even more and back away. And that's my sabotage running. That's me sabotaging the relationship, because the relationship should be a good communication relationship. And if you're in a relationship like that, you should be best friends and be able to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And so that was just an example of how I recognise that my behaviour to something that I'd perceived was a problem. It was the way I behaved.
And what we always generally do is blame the other person, blame the situation, blame your boss, blame your partner, blame your friends, blame the road, blame the M25, blame your car, blame your mum, blame your dad. It's always everybody else's fault. And that goes back to the Orbed model of taking responsibility.
Exactly.
I just wanted to step in there because I'm just mindful of the time that we've got left.
All right.
And we've still got one more area to touch on, which is the social element, where everyone around you is warm, loving, kind and friendly.
That's the last one. And again, a very important one. So you can take that one.
Oh, I don't want to.
You don't want to. You don't want to take it.
I'm not very warm, loving, kind, and friendly. So you can stick that one. And so
you are to me sometimes.
I am to everybody.
Sometimes you play with my hair and gently stroke me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer's in the question, really, or in the statement. I mean, in the question. Is there a question?
No.
Great question.
Yeah.
Is that a question?
I don't think so.
Is everyone around you warm, loving, kind, and friendly? No. Right, that's not working for me then. So it's really pretty obvious. Is people socially warm, loving, kind, and friendly? Does it make you feel like that? Are your social circle creating a negative response in you? And are the people there helping you? Are they supportive? Are they warm, kind, loving, and friendly? And if they're not, then you probably think they're not actually that relationship or that person or that element isn't working for you. Whether it could even be a driving instructor, it could be a school teacher, it could be your DTO practitioner. It could be a therapist or whatever it is. But that's a really good, as well as relationships and people. So you're going to, or even going to a venue where you might go to the venue and it makes you feel really uncomfortable, but you go there because you want to be seen there because that's where the place to go. But it might actually be working for you. So from a social element, that's also tied in with the environment, but it's a key thing. And again, one of the things that I've learned is to have people around me now that work for me. I had so many people, toxic people in my life around me that didn't work for me. And I wondered why my life wasn't working, you know? So, and I'm glad now, you know, the people I have around me are just fucking amazing, excuse my language, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So, so yeah, do you want to add to that?
Well, so now you've got those 6 things. How do you apply that? So I'm briefly going to give you a really basic way to apply it to start with. So start really small and start with just when you're going to a destination, you know, everyone generally has a way they like to go and a fast way, you know, and so you can either go on the motorway or you go on a country road. And what I started doing was going, well, is going on the motorway working for me? Do I really enjoy? I mean, yeah, I get there a bit quicker, but do I really enjoy that? No, I like the country road. So do it with small things, because you'll find that small things will turn into, yeah.
It's like my mate through Mike's supposed ex-wife.
It's my ex-wife working for me.
That's my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Well, don't want to go there with mine right now. Not that she was a wife.
No.
I want to just say congratulations if you are watching.
Oh, right, okay. But yes, that's going to confuse people, that is.
Yeah, that is. My little boy's going to have a brother or sister.
Right, okay. Right,
so
good.
Congratulations.
He might enjoy that. Might be
I think he needs it.
I think he needs it. Yeah, it'd be good. So especially this time what's going on. So at least they have some company.
Yeah.
So no, you can use it in small ways like that and then build. So Mike gave a really silly example. It's very funny. The ex-wife. That's a little bit too general, Mike. I get you being funny. I get that. But if we take that example, so a lot of people, they come to me and they've got problems with their ex, and so you would actually ask, is them manipulating me working for me? Because a lot of people manipulate their ex. Is that working for me? No. Then go, well, what's the opposite or better, and wait for the answer.
Yeah.
And often the answer is for you to take action. Not allow them to manipulate you.
Yeah.
Not allow that to
don't
work.
make things okay that aren't okay, and then stay there, stay stuck.
Yeah, and don't accept the behaviour and put a boundary in place.
Yeah.
But ultimately, once you've worked out it's not working for you, ask yourself what's the opposite or better, and then within a few days or an hour, the answer will pop in your mind.
Yeah.
Don't expect to pop in straight away. You know, the thing, example I gave about the ice skating, that came to me 2 days later, and it was such a simple idea and it worked. But so the answer might come to you later. So once you recognise whatever it is not working for you, just ask what's the opposite or better.
Yeah, or if you're finding yourself you haven't really got much of a hobby, or for example, just saying to yourself, he's sitting indoors moaning, watching mainstream brainwashed I'm clown TV nonsense lies media. Is that working for me? Well, no, because it's making me feel negative. It's making me angry at the TV. It's making me fearful. I could take up fishing. Or I could take up another hobby. So even in everyday situations, when you're having a negative response, if you're sitting there stuffing biscuits in your face, watching the coronavirus count go up and listening to all this bullshit, and it's making you angry and fearful, ask yourself, is that working for me? Is feeling like that working for me? No. What's the opposite or better? Well, the opposite will be not to watch it. So then what can I do? And then you'll find something that you'll like. So that's a really great example. That's the reason I stopped watching it, because once I learned that and I realised it was causing me more issues than it was anything else, I just stopped watching it.
I did the very same thing recently.
And to be quite honest, out this whole year, I've been absolutely fine with this whole crap, all of it, because obviously I know what I know as well. But I've not had the media shoving fear down my throat and telling me lies. So
no, I did the same thing recently. I was watching TV programs. I was on YouTube and I just said, this is not working for me. So I started watching comedies again. I started watching Only Fools and Horses. I started watching Miranda. I started watching things that made me laugh because there was just too much negativity on the TV or on YouTube or whatever. So I just started watching funny movies and funny TV shows.
Yeah.
And that really worked. When I finished my day, I put on something funny, I'd laugh my head off.
Yeah. Just look at anything that you're doing, like, because there's the 6th there, anything in your environment or anything, if you're feeling low spiritually or whatever it is, just go to those specific areas in your life and see if it's working for you. And just ask yourself, is it working for me? Just say no. And sometimes you'll know straight away, just not do it and just and then go and do something else that does work for you. Or like John says, if it's something a little bit more deeper, something a little bit more of an issue for you, then ask yourself that question, stop doing it, and then within a few days, you will get the answer. Your subconscious knows the answer to everything. I'm telling you that now. It's just that we live in this neocortex part of the brain, which is only equates to 5%. We live in the logical brain. We want everything right now, and we have very, very, very limiting processing power in that part of the brain. And the big supercomputer exists in our subconscious, which we're not aware about, which is our emotional brain, which we're all taught to shut off. But that's where all the the answers exist. And when you actually go and ask yourself that question, it will work its way up to the top, and you will find the answer that you want and need, and it will be the right answer that works for you, not works for John, for example, or listen to anybody else. I want to do what you want to do, Dave. Get yourself a motor, go do a bit of track days. I don't like driving. No, that's what you want to do, mate. That will make you happy. No, it won't. That'll make you happy. It won't make me happy. So we have to be a bit careful about that. So, so is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, that's it, I think. It's a great tool to use. If you're confused or you don't know what 6 things are, we'll put a post below. Just let us know. We'll
just go through them quickly again. So emotionally, it makes you feel happy, joyful, and peaceful. Mentally, it makes you feel focused, clear, and have mental clarity. Physically, which means generally physically strong and motivated and energized. Spiritually, feeling grounded and connected. Does it in your environment make you feel generally safe and secure in your environment? And socially, is everyone around you warm, loving, kind, and friendly,
including yourself?
So
those are 6 things. Memorize them, learn them, and start asking if things are working for you. And you'll gradually find that you can start changing your life when you recognize they're not working. Then ask what's the opposite or better, and then you'll start making better decisions, because you're then asking yourself what's the opposite or better. And as Steve said, you know the answer. So it's a great way for your unconscious to bring up your own answers rather than asking someone.
Because we're always looking for outside for the answers, and we're always looking to be rescued or saved or whatever. Actually, we do know the answers to us. And when we start doing that more, we start becoming more intuitive of our own self, what we like, what we don't like. And once we start using this thing, it starts to speed up. The thing comes naturally. Sometimes you'll just go, well, this is not working. I need to do that. And it happens instantly but it is a bit of a process and a learning procedure, because generally we're not programmed to think and act and operate in that way. Maria, if you want to book in on Monday, please, you're more than welcome to. Just give me a call or message me and I'll get you booked in. She's just asked so she can book in. So
brilliant, fantastic.
So if you want to come and see me on Monday, I'm actually quite free Monday.
He's very good. I don't know who taught him, but he's brilliant. He's so good.
I've gone all shy now.
You've gone all shy. He's gone bright red. I can warm my hands up on that. That's lovely. That's
expecting that. So if you want to come
seriously, he is super good. I genuinely mean that. I was teasing, but he is super good. He's very good at what he does.
So Maria's come and seen me a few times in the past with some stuff. So, and I haven't seen her for a while. So it'd be nice to see. If you want to come and see me, drop me a text and I'll book you in, and we can work on your issue and get rid of that for you.
Am I interrupting your booking system? Is the podcast
my new booking system?
Interactive booking system. That's superb. I'm going to be your secretary in a minute. I'm not putting on fishnet stockings. I'm not doing it. A pencil skirt maybe, but no stockings.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to hold you to that. Right. Okay.
You may have to hold me to the skirt. I'm not going to get any otherwise.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely.
No. Anyway, right. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, post below. Please like it, share it, post it out. It's a great tool to use. And we hope you get a lot of benefit out of using that.
So you can find me if you want to work with myself on any issues, problems, etc. Please go to healingthemind.co.uk, my brand new website, which looks damn good.
Yeah, who did that for you, by the way?
Some guys with glasses and a beard.
Really?
Now, I've got to say, John's done a great job on my website, so thank you very much. There's some stuff to go up there. Have you put it up there yet?
No, not yet. No.
So some more ups, but I've got obviously my new website, so go in there and go to healingthemind.co.uk, or you can find John on the dtosystem.com, or you can get either of us on the insideouteffect.co.uk. Go and check our YouTube channel out, which is Inside Out Effect with Stephen and Jonathan, and or go back onto our personal Facebook feeds, and you can go back and read all of our stuff, watch previous podcasts, and keep in touch with us via Messenger, Telegram.
Basically, any way you like, or you could just text us. It's much easier.
If you know our number. So thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your time. We thank you for taking an interest in what we do, and obviously please, like John said, share this information. We don't, this is from experience. This isn't, stuff that we're reading out a book and repeating. It's not for our ego, etc. Because we genuinely care. We want to help people. We do help people successfully. John's been doing it for 20 years. I haven't been doing it for that long, but I'm still having just as good success. So please take on board what we're telling you, because this stuff is tried and tested and it works. And if you can apply this stuff into your life, it's just going to improve improve your life and make your life better. So that's all I really want to say. So thanks for joining us. We will be back maybe in a fortnight, or maybe next week, or maybe in a fortnight with another episode of the Inside Out Effect podcast. I've been your host, Stephen Jakes. This has been my good friend Jonathan Shaw, and so we're going to say goodbye. Yeah, Jonathan, you just say goodbye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care.
And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And from me, cheers, thanks, good night, and au revoir. Bye. Embrook.